Kai Kara-France fought Steve Erceg at UFC 305, winning by TKO in the first round. I think Kai shows him good ways of striking with a taller opponent, and even though Erceg actually had the shorter reach, as you can see here, I think these techniques would still work well against a taller opponent that also has a longer reach. Kai was looking to use step-through combinations to close the distance between himself and Steve. Here he throws a left into a right hand, from which he steps forward into southpaw, before attempting a left hook from that stance. Even though Kai came up short on this attempt, you see how much distance he was able to cover, with Erceg just narrowly avoiding the shots before attempting to land his own. I want to take another look at the left hand of Kai here. On first glance, especially at full speed, it looks as though Kai is using a jab or jab feint to start his offense. But notice Kai's open hand in this frame. No, he's not attempting an eye poke. It's common for a taller opponent, such as Steve in this case, to step back and use their lead hand, either in the form of a jab or simply posting with their palm to stuff the forward movements of a shorter fighter. What Kai is looking to do is palm Steve's left arm out of the way so he can step inside of it to land his follow-up strikes. We see Kai do this again here before throwing an overhand right which Steve narrowly slips to the inside of. Kai also does a real good job of mixing up his offense, not providing a predictable pattern for Steve to exploit. Here he puts out the left hand again, but this time attempts the right hand to the body. Here he leads with the right hand before stepping through and again attempting the southpaw left hook. And here we see Kai lead with the right hand to close the distance, which puts him in position to land a solid jab. Before following up with the left hand to close distance, landing an overhand right, and again attempting a left hook off the step through. And in this frame here, you can clearly see how Kai is using his left hand to palm away Erceg's left arm to start that attack. And here's some more varied forward offense from Kai as he attempts a jab right hand into another jab. As you can see, Kai has missed with many of these attempts, but because of his speed, power, and his variety of offense, these attempts are forcing Erceg to move back and maintain a lot of distance. And while this is good in terms of keeping him safe, the problem is he's also putting himself out of position, not allowing him to land any meaningful counter-offense of his own. So as the round progresses, you see Steve make more of a conscious effort to stay close to Kara-France in order to set up his own offense. But at the same time, this means Kai now has less distance to cover with his own attacks. Notice here how Steve stays much closer to Kai during this exchange. You may have already noticed, and here's a good example of it in this frame, is how low in his stance Kai is getting during much of the offense he's attempted in this fight. While this can be dangerous, especially against an opponent who throws knees in these positions, against someone who's primarily boxing, it's a great way to turn a range advantage into a disadvantage. Your reach is at its longest when you're punching straight out at eye level. When you're punching down at an opponent, you lose much of that advantage. It's also very difficult to keep your chin safely tucked behind your shoulder when you're punching down like this. And for the shorter fighter, this stance allows them to generate a lot of power in their punches as they come up, with Prime Mike Tyson being one of the best examples of this. And in MMA, it's also a good position from which to shoot a takedown, being as you're right in close on the legs. Now on to the finish. Again, notice how Steve is standing closer to Kai than earlier in the round. Kai again leads with the palming left, just misses on the overhand right, and heavily commits to the step through, which allows him to land and drop Erceg with the left hook. Here's another angle. After some ground strikes, Erceg is able to get back to his feet, but is still clearly hurt, and Kai is able to get the finish with his right hand. And this caps off a really strong performance by Kai Kara France. Thank you for watching.